Taking a look at the greatest drivers in motorsports history, many of them share something in common. Many of them have the talent to step into anything and win. Tony Stewart, who won in sprint cars, Silver Crown cars, IndyCars, and stock cars. Graham Hill, who remains to this day the only driver to win motorsports Triple Crown. And Jacques Villeneuve, who won the Indy 500 and the Formula One World Championship in the span of only 2 years. However, some drivers that are diverse in the series they've ran don't find that much success. Today, we talk about PJ Jones, a driver who raced almost everywhere, yet never made a solid impression. Welcome back to All IndyCar, the motorsports history show looking at the most interesting stories in American open-wheel racing. PJ Jones was born in Torrance, California on April 23, 1969. PJ Jones is the son of Parnelli Jones, who had quite a storied career. 6 IndyCar wins, including the 1970 and 1971 Indy 500s. He also won in stock cars and dirt sprint cars. Parnelli Jones was also the driver for the STP Turbine car that raced in the Indy 500 in 1967. At a young age, PJ Jones was interested in hockey and was fairly good. However, at age 15, he would get a surgery that hindered his hockey skills and forced his retirement from the game 2 years later. During this time, PJ was racing at small oval races in California, and when his hockey aspirations came to an end, he switched his attention to motorsports. In 1986, PJ Jones would win the USAC West Coast Midget Rookie of the Year award. Over the next few years, he would continue to race in USAC as well as dabbling in IMSA races. While he wouldn't find success in the IMSA series, he did find great results in sprint cars, including a win at the World Championship Sprint Car race in 1988. 1989 would be an interesting year for good and bad reasons. Bad in the form of being suspended from USAC after intentionally running into an opponent, but the good parts of this year would come from his rookie season in the American Racing Series. Although his debut at Phoenix would be terrible, the rest of the season would be pretty good. Not a championship level season, but with 4 podiums including a win at Mid-Ohio, PJ Jones would make a decent impression in the series. 1990 would see a big step back as he DNF'd from half the races that year, including a stretch of 4 in a row late in the year. After this disappointing season, PJ left his home of pig racing and joined Landford Racing in 1991. This season would be the best he had in the American Racing Series, but didn't start off too well. Despite 2 top 5 finishes in the first 6 races, he had 3 DNFs at Long Beach, Detroit, and Cleveland. Thankfully, PJ Jones would make it up in the second half of the year, with wins at Toronto and Denver, podiums at the Meadowlands and Nazareth, and other top 5s. PJ Jones would catapult himself to 3rd place in the 1991 American Racing Series Championship. After this season, PJ Jones left the American Racing Series to try and get an IndyCar ride, but this won't happen as he moved to the world of NASCAR shortly after this. From 1992 to 1996, PJ Jones would race for multiple different teams. His time at Melling Racing in 1993 would be pretty miserable as he DNQ'd from 5 of the 11 races he was entered in. This season did have a very thin silver lining with an 8th place finish at Watkins Glen. PJ Jones would race with Jasper Motorsports and Ultra Motorsports in only 2 races in 1994. This season saw 1 DNF and a 29th place finish at Phoenix. PJ Jones would also race in the inaugural season of the NASCAR Truck Series. He raced half of the season but was replaced by Mike Chase before the race at Flemington. In the NASCAR Truck Series this season, PJ Jones got his best finish in a NASCAR race, that being a runner-up finish at Tucson. In 1996, Jones finally got a ride in kart with All-American racers. PJ would race the entire kart season after the US 500. This season saw him retire from half of the races that he raced in that year, and although he would get a 9th place finish at Detroit, there weren't too many positives to take from this year. 1997 was equally bad as he DNF'd 10 times that year and had a best finish of 10th at Fontana. 1998 would once again be terrible as in 15 races, PJ DNF'd 9 times. This is pretty awful, but this isn't PJ's fault. From 1997 to 1998, PJ Jones DNF'd 19 times, and 17 of them were mechanical failures. Putting aside the fact that 90% of these DNFs were because of unreliability, PJ Jones did not have the equipment to show off his talent. Thankfully, after the 9th DNF of 1998, PJ Jones left All-American Racers and got the big break he needed. For 1999, Jones joined Patrick Racing and his result got a lot better. After the first 3 races of that year where PJ Jones got 3 top 15s, Kurt moved to Nazareth, where PJ Jones got his best IndyCar finish of 2nd. The rest of the season would be decent, with 4 more top 10 finishes. However, comparing his results to his teammate would be concerning, as Adrian Fernandez finished 11 spots higher in the championship, even after missing 4 races. Despite his upturn in results, PJ Jones would be replaced at Patrick Racing by former F1 driver Roberto Moreno. After this, PJ moved to NASCAR to round off his career, and although he did race at the 2004 and 2006 Indy 500s, these were pretty quiet. After he was bumped from the field at the 2007 Indy 500, PJ Jones never attempted another IndyCar race. He would later race in Stadium Super Trucks, where he won 4 races in the span of 5 years, but besides that, his career was quiet until his retirement after 2017. Jack of all trades, master of none. If I had to pick a statement to describe PJ Jones's career, that would be it. He raced in the NASCAR Cup Series, Busch Series, Truck Series, ARCA, Indy Lights, IndyCar, Kart, and USAC. Yet he never scored a championship in any of those series. Despite the fact that he never scored a championship though, I do have to applaud the versatility that he showed in his career. I mean, come on, you have to have a lot of talent to race in all of these series and still find a little bit of success.